Anastasia, it's the morning of the rabbit's ball, but you've been hiding in your room for a day or two. What have you been up to?
Would I have literally not seen anyone in those 2 days? Is everyone else home, like Charlotte and my uncle, or is it just me?
Charlotte has been elsewhere. Mr. Burrows escorted you from the Kingscombe Spa back to Prideaux Manor. Reverend George has been in and out, but your brother, you haven't noticed him coming home. It's a big manor and lots of empty rooms.
Okay. I think I would talk to the staff fairly regularly to check if everyone's okay, if they've heard news from everyone, if they've talked to my uncle and if he said anything. And of course, on top of that, I'd like to make sure the first night before going to sleep that I drank the light tea followed by the dark tea as instructed. And I'd also like to have had some conversations with Mr. Burrows about what's been happening and his thoughts on the Hawthornes' intention to kill me.
So there's two key things there. Conversations with Burrows and drinking the tea. Which of those two things would you have done first?
I think, depending on how traumatized we both were upon returning from the spa, we would either take some rest, do the sleeping, and then have the conversation in the morning, or we would have the conversation upon returning and then do the drinking the tea at night. What are your
give me
thoughts?
yours, Anastasia. Tell me which one. Which one would she have felt in the moment? She's come back. Burrows has brought her back. Burrows has protected her by bringing her back from the spa, back to Prideaux Manor to relative safety, away from whatever it was that you saw with those yellow eyes, the skin split with the head open, pulled open, and the metal prong sticking out of its head. Burrows was the one to bring you back. You're back here, isolated in your room. Obviously, it's not proper for Burrows to be in your room, so what is it you do?
I think she'd want to talk about it, even if it involves him standing outside her door.
Burrows, you are outside of Miss Anastasia's door. Not an unfamiliar place, one would argue.
No, absolutely. And it's quite proper. So it's just sort of slightly ajar, I suppose. And he's just sort of leaning against the wall just next to it. And they're talking through the crack.
What's said?
What happened, Burrows? What happened? What was that? What's going on?
I'm quite certain in my mind that nothing unusual took place. I think perhaps a case of the vapors. The temperature, perhaps, or the unfamiliar waters. And he's sort of dabbing at his own forehead with a handkerchief and tugging at his collar. Such things do happen. And perhaps we saw, or thought we saw, or dreamt that we, but not in truth, not in actuality. Can't really say. Nothing unusual.
Do you really think that?
No, quite.
Really? Burrows, really? That is what we're doing? Right
Burrows,
now?
Are you trying to persuade her for her... Don't tell me whether you're trying to persuade her for her benefit or for your own benefit. Are you trying to persuade her? Or yourself?
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely some persuasion going on.
I think there's a role in it then.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Do I get to counter with an opposed psychology roll?
I think that's a valid call, Anastasia.
You needn't worry, he's not particularly persuasive.
Okay, can I oppose with a persuade roll, actually? I just realized. Or, yeah. Yeah, I think the rules say you can oppose either with a psychology or the same skill.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's correct.
but can you just tell me in terms of if he's trying to persuade you, how is it you're trying to persuade back? You can absolutely make the roll, I'm just curious.
I'm just going to try and persuade him that he's full of crap.
So he's trying to convince you of something and you're trying to persuade him to tell the truth, and it's whoever rolls the right roll here ends up on top. Okay, so let's see that then. Burrows.
Let's let the dice do the talking. That's a failure for Mr. Burrows. 47 over a measly 30.
Okay, he's in
Burrows.
the wrong campaign for a bit of gaslighting. Anastasia, how about you?
Hard success of 22 over 53. Anastasia's just going to say, Burrows? Really? Really? Is this what we're doing here?
Well,
Did you not see what I saw? Have you not been to this town during this whatever's been happening?
I did. I saw it. It was terrible. It was eyes. And he just starts sort of stuffing his handkerchief into his mouth on the other side of the door and whimpering into it.
Anastasia, the man that so valiantly grabbed you from the Kingscombe Spa, threw you in the Prideaux carriage that was waiting for you outside the spa, got you back to Prideaux Manor, has found his breaking point. This is the moment where his guard is down, there is relative safety, and I think it's up to you how you perceive this social weakness. It's only you, it's only him, there is a door between you, but you are Miss Anastasia Prideaux of one of the ruling houses of Kingscombe, and he is a man of industry, and he is weeping at your door.
I think considering the downfall of Anastasia's reputation over a certain period of time now, she doesn't really feel like she's in a place to judge. I think she probably feels bad for him. She definitely feels less attracted to him than she did before. But that's okay. There's Tobias now, and that's fine. But she will, stand up from her bed and go and sit down on the floor on the other side of the door and be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Burrows. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. Are you okay?" Look, I know it's bad. It's bad. It's very bad. Oh my god, it's so bad. What are we going to do? You know they're trying to kill me, right?
Yes. Yes.
What do you think? Do you think that's true? Do you believe it?
Apologies, Miss Prideaux. Please, what must you think of me? Just, quite threats. Abominable threats were made against your person, and the tea. You must drink that tea.
So you believe Tobias? Do you think Tobias is good?
I perhaps hope more than I thought myself a reasonable judge of character, Miss Prideaux. I am beginning to doubt the evidence of my eyes. I don't know that we have the luxury of not believing him.
Out of all the people that have tried to convince me one way or the other, it's Tobias I trust the most. I will take the tea. But is that all? Is that the limit of our power? Is there nothing else we can do?
We are due to attend. You've been invited. What will they say of society? Miss Prideaux, I don't know. We could alert the constabulary, perhaps.
They're powerful.
Yes, they are.
I suppose we're doomed then.
On that wonderful sentiment, we're going to see the Reverend. Reverend, it's the day of the ball. There is a lot to do in terms of preparing to be at such a significant social event. You've been told by Lady Hawthorne that this is the crown and the jewel of social events here in Kingscombe, and it's your first that you're attending here in Kingscombe. What are you doing?
Well, the Reverend is currently in the company of Mr. Martin Lewis, his valet. Thomas Prideaux has managed to spare Mr. Lewis for a short amount of time so he can help the Reverend decide whether or not his important things, whether he needs to wear a wig tonight or not. He usually wears it when he has dinner with the bishop, and he just is not sure whether it is the correct time. Maybe it's seen as old-fashioned, but he kind of doesn't mind being seen as old-fashioned. He is there to make a statement tonight. He feels better that he has staff around him. He was most displeased with Harris, as when he went into the study, he found Master Thomas's mask stabbed into the desk, which made the Reverend call into question all kinds of security. And he's been introduced to Mr. Callum Douglas. who I've been told will accompany me to the ball, along with the coachman, Mr. Adrian Russell, and indeed Mr. George Barnicott, the groom. Feeling that he has some, muscle, he is more pleased and can relax a little, hoping that his meeting tonight with the gravedigger Peter Owens will go smoothly, and is going to try to relax, which is why he wants to look his best, be strong for the children, and see quite what happens. Not showing his cards, playing his cards. He's not familiar with his gambling terms, but playing it steady as a proper city-ton gentleman should.
So where is he? What's he doing?
Oh, he's in his room, getting ready, trying the wig, and lamenting that the chef wasn't able to find any lampreys, because he was quite partial to those when he was served them once. And he's just waiting, reading through a piece of paper, and maybe even getting time when he's waiting for everyone to head up to the telescope and see what he can see.
So let's have a fashion roll. You're playing with your wig.
God,
you're
no.
getting yourself ready. Are you wearing your...
No, that's why he has a valet.
Well,
And
valet included.
Oh, that's almost luckable. He has rolled 14 versus 10.
Is it something you'd like to spend luck on? This is the crown of the jewel in societal Kingscombe. This is the time to make an impression.
But I might need it to survive and live.
That's
heavens,
future
man, if you
reverend's
go-
problems.
Because if you turn up and make an embarrassment of yourself, what's the point in living?
Exactly.
This is very true. He will spend the 4 luck to bring it down to a success. Goodness me.
Excellent. You put that bloody wig on and you play with it for a few minutes and you question about the old-fashioned nature of wearing it. It's very... Well, it's not everybody's current cup of tea, you imagine Lady Hawthorne saying, but the reality is, for you, it finishes your visage. The Reverend Prideaux, this is who you are. It's not quite out of fashion for some of the old school boys, and you can just put yourself in that category. Not really, but just. And you think that this is a recognizable, stately approach for you to be able to turn up at the Rabbit's Ball held at Dun Manor and do so with a level of recognition and dignity. Do you hope that Reverend Giles Marsh is also going to be wearing a wig?
If he's been to the same dinners as he has with the bishop, then he will probably expect it to be. But hopefully his wig will be more expensive than the Reverend Marsh's.
You finish dressing yourself in the suitable fashion that befits your post as well, your role, your calling in life, Reverend. And you get your wig and it just sits perfectly, and just as you get it to sit perfectly, and you know with the kind of the pressure you feel on your head where it is, almost kind of pinned in a little bit, you know exactly where it is. That usually calls for a good dinner with the bishop. But in that moment, there is a crack to the side of you, and it makes you jump.
Oh.
One of your windows has just been cracked. Someone has just thrown something at your bedroom window, and it has cracked the window pane.
He immediately calls for Douglas and goes to look out of the window. Douglas, what's going on out there?
Douglas, do you call from in the house, or are you calling out the window?
I'm calling him in the house.
So he will run up the stairs wearing the Prideaux colours, and he runs up, knocks on the door before he comes in.
Come in.
Sorry, sir. What's the problem, sir?
Look at this window. It's broken. Somebody's just thrown something at it. Has something come through at all?
Right. He runs straight over to the window and forces the window open.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of hear the glass kind of crack and splinter a bit more, and he kind of looks around. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir. There's no one there. Perhaps a bird?
Perhaps a bird. Can I remind you that somebody got into the study and stabbed Master Thomas's mask?
Yes, sir. We're incredibly sorry about that, sir. We're not quite sure what happened there. We have, since your arrival and Miss Anastasia's accusations at the carriage driver, we have made sure that we have absolutely had someone at every entrance or exit to the house at all times, but it's inexplicable, sir. It's inexplicable.
No. It's when people want to get you, they shall, Mr. Douglas. Has Miss Foster heard anything from Miss Anastasia? Is she okay?
Yes, I believe she's been attending her, sir, regularly, and I believe Miss Prideaux is feeling better, sir, but I wouldn't like to speak on behalf of Miss Prideaux should that not be the case. But, sir, moments before you shouted for me, moments before you called for my attention, sir, a gentleman, not a gentleman, sir, someone from the town brought a note for you.
Oh, goodness. Do you have it with you at all?
Here you are, sir.
Oh, very kind, very kind.
And it's an envelope that is sealed.
Would you give me some privacy? Could you just go and see if you can find if it was a bird downstairs outside of the window? If it was somebody attacking us or doing anything, goodness, it makes me want to break out the pole arms.
Oh, no, of course, sir. Probably a bird. I will find it. Of course, sir.
Thank
Very
you.
good, sir. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
day, sir. Your mask, sir. Would you like me to leave it downstairs with the rest?
Oh, yes, leave it downstairs. I intend to wear it as little as possible. Have you been to one of these bunny balls before,
Afraid not,
Douglas?
sir. But
No.
I have heard they are quite the exceptional social events, sir. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful time.
It's very licentious, if you don't ask me, but no, not to worry. I will need you to travel with Mr. Russell with us to the ball, unless you have anything planned tonight. It would just be good to know you're there. That's all, Mr. Douglas.
Of course, sir. And we will be in the carriage waiting your desire to return, sir. Of course, sir. Very good, sir. Have a lovely day, sir.
Thank you.
Very good, sir. And he leaves.
Okay. He will unravel the envelope and look at the note.
You see
what it sees.
a familiar handwriting in a torn piece of paper.
You are being watched. Send your lawyer Burrows for 9 o'clock. A friend. He assumes that is going to be Mr. Gravedigger. Is the fire on in the house? I believe it's still March. Will we have the fire on at the time?
Would you have instructed the fire to be on?
If it's cold, then yes.
Then very good, sir. The fire is on.
Jolly good. He shall burn the note.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I think we'll just have a little trot over to Charlotte Lambert. Now, Charlotte, I've got quite a significant question to ask you and put you on the spot with here. You woke up in Dun Manor. Have you stayed in Dun Manor since you woke up and Lady Hawthorne was reading your most recent writings of the Crimson Kiss, and you received quite a beautiful present from Lord Dun's daughter? A dress with a matching mask. A dress that she said was the same as hers. Would you have stayed, Charlotte, or would you have returned to Prideaux Manor?
I think Charlotte would have stayed until the day of the ball. I think she would want to go back to Prideaux Manor to see particularly Anastasia, but also all her jewellery and hair accessories and perfumes and everything up back home. And there's one particular thing she wants to wear to the ball, which was a wedding present from Phillipe's mother, I think, which was a string of pearls. She doesn't wear them often, but I think she wants to wear them tonight.
Is this something you would have gone to get, Charlotte, or something you would have sent someone to get? You find yourself in Dun Manor and you are being treated like royalty. You don't, unfortunately, have the opportunity to meet Lord Dunn, Lady Dunn, or even his daughter. It feels rather busy with servants getting ready for the Rabbit's Ball, and my word, they are busy. This is going to be quite an event. But there are lots of servants at your beck and call, and you'll never guess who makes an appearance sitting at your dressing table.
Ah, Phillipe, I was hoping to see you today.
Well, you can pretty much see me every day, my dear. Right? What a lovely room. I love it so much here. It is so nice. I love what you're doing with the place.
Well, it's a bit of a difference, isn't it?
No, it's not much of a difference. It's what you deserve.
Oh,
It's what you need.
well,
Right? Right, darling?
maybe I
No,
will stay for the
I
rest of
don't
the
want
day.
to hear any maybe now. You
All right,
deserve-
I'll stay for the rest of the day. But I would like to know how Anastasia's doing. She's had a difficult
doing
time of it lately.
fine. She's doing fine. You don't need her, even if she might need you, but what's the point? I saw that you wrote a few things, didn't you?
Well, I don't have any memory of writing them, but I suppose I must have done.
Phillipe,
I mean,
you can see the papers in front of you. You're very welcome to pick up one and have a look.
I just find it, quite amazing in many ways. You have such an imagination, my dear. Fingers touched with the cold hostility of ancient glass. The warmth from Jonah's fingertips gave life to the reflection as it welcomed Jonas into its mirror world. With a sharp breath, a cough, and a splutter, Jonas could see the world, but backward. The bed was on the wrong side, as was the door. The window on the washbowl. He looked back through the mirror and saw the world he had left behind. The reflection spoke with the red shimmer in its eyes, pulsing much fiercer than before. Here I am, the opposite of you. Bold, charming, popular too. You want your life on the other side to be a fast pull. Exciting ride? Jonas stepped closer, drawn to the reflection, exuding more life than he ever could. I do. Please tell me how. That sounds exciting, doesn't it?
It does. It's very strange to be proud of writing something when you don't have any memory of actually writing it.
Well, it is
happened?
your handwriting, Charlotte.
I know it has to be mine, but...
And apart from that, the talent, I can see it's yours, of course. You had always such a way with words.
Oh, thank you.
Ah, Charlotte, everything is finally right. Finally, you are where you belong. I love you, darling.
And I love you, Cher.
You're never gonna let me go, right? You will
Of course
always
not.
be with me.
Yes, of course. I lost you, and now you're back, and you're right.
And I don't want to leave anymore, right?
Well,
I
you're
don't
not
want
going
to
to
wake
leave,
up
are
in
you?
strange places. I want you to stay with me. Don't leave me behind. Not again.
Oh, the guilt trip. Oh, the guilt trip.
On that wonderful guilt trip. Charlotte, can you give me a listen roll, please?
I can indeed. That is a failure, unfortunately, of 47 against 27.
The guilt consumes you and everything else is blocked out. And you look into Philippe's eyes and you see the man you loved. But what you don't hear is someone arriving at Dun Manor. Lord Cosgrove, you arrive in your carriage, and as it rolls up, outside of this quite wonderful, beautiful, large, lordly manor house that overlooks this town and is up on the cliffs and the sea is beneath, it is quite the mini kingdom that you've been invited to. Your carriage driver runs down, opens the door, and you see before you a rather portly gentleman with eyes slightly wider than you think that they should be, standing there, waiting to speak to you.
You man, are you a manservant? Are you here to show me to my rooms?
No, Lord Cosgrove, apologies, Lord Dunn, sorry, poor introduction.
Oh, sorry. You are Lord Dunn.
Yes.
I'm terribly sorry.
No, I'm sorry, not very, with the social interaction, right, lovely.
Yes. It was very gracious of you to invite me. I'm rather looking forward to catching up with some old friends here.
Yes, quite. We wanted you here. Great reputation, well known, very connected. Many people, lots of connections. Great, wonderful. Please, we wanted you here earlier to speak to me, myself, and my friend, Lord Hawthorne.
Yes.
Yes,
indeed.
He invited you. Very good. Would you care for a drink to join us? For a drink to care?
Indeed, yes. I am never one to turn down a drink.
No, good, very good. Well, your things will be put in a room.
Yes. I have brought a manservant with me, or at least yes, I suppose you could call him a manservant to aid me with certain matters. Perhaps he could help with the bags. Johnson?
Johnson casually steps down from the carriage, and it looks like he is taller than you and wider than you, and is wearing, I suppose, suitable attire for this incident, but seems to be wearing it on the rather tight side. And just steps down and just goes, "Yes, my lord, I'll get the bags."
Good man.
Yeah. My lord Dunn, where do you want the bags? Oh, take them in and one of the people will show you. Right. And Lord Dunn essentially just kind of gestures in and leaves Johnson to collect your bags, which bizarrely he manages to make look rather small when he puts one bag under one arm and the other bag under the other arm and starts following you down the gravel drive towards the manor house.
Marvellous.
Lord Dunn, you can tell, is not the most eloquent of individuals, but he does start walking towards the manor house with you, trying his very best. And if any point, Lord Cosgrove, you'd like to make any particular roll on Lord Dunn, you're very welcome to let me know. Lord Cosgrove, the ride, suitable?
Is there such a thing as a pleasurable carriage ride? They're tiresome at best and uncomfortable at worst, and this was both.
Yes, quite. I don't tend to leave Kingscombe myself, but
I wouldn't worry about it, my good man. There isn't much out there to see.
Yes. Kingscombe is more than anyone could dream about. Yes, please, this way. And he leads you into a rather lovely study. Quite large, really well, very well furnished. In fact, not really well, very well furnished. It is beautiful. There are multiple lounging chairs. There's a desk. There's libraries. There's a beautiful kind of drinks table. There's a little gaming table to the side, which you can see doesn't really get played that much, but is there for special occasions. And sitting almost perched on the desk is your old associate, Lord Hawthorne.
Good to see you, Lord Hawthorne. Marvellous. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Very good to see you here, Lord Cosgrove. It is an absolute pleasure, and I have no doubt that you're going to find your time here, especially at this, shall we say, I think my wife calls it the crown and the jewel of societal engagements here in Kingscombe. You will find this quite a revealing evening.
Indeed.
I hope you don't mind, Lord Cosgrove, but we here in Kingscombe know of your wide reputation. You have so many friends in high places who all seem to owe you their friendship, shall we say.
Indeed.
And we're very much hoping this evening that we can show you just how close we can be as friends. And perhaps some of those shared interests could become a common agreement. But this is all absolutely at your discretion. I wouldn't want you to make any decisions about anything we have here this evening until you are firmly feet up, drink in hand, and we're talking about some of those old hunting stories from back in the day. And I apologize if any of this sounds like some kind of debasing business talk. It's not my intention. I just mean to further yours and our social connections.
Well, my dear Hawthorne, consider my interest piqued.
On that wonderful note, we will jump to Thomas Prideaux. Thomas, where are you? What are you doing? This is the day of the ball. And before you say a single word, Mr. Thomas Prideaux, can you give me a constitution roll?
So that is actually a failure as a 48 over 40.
Okay. So for the foreseeable future, arguably approximately the next 12 hours, you are suffering immediate cold sweats, shivers, a stomach sickness, and there is this constant headache which seems to be there, which seems to just sit there almost at the base of your skull that you can't seem to get rid of. You're able to function, you're able to do what you want to do, but you are clearly in a state of, dare I say, addiction.
Thomas is probably spending majority of the time laid back on a chaise lounge, going cold turkey from this red jelly. Imagine a large glass of brandy in one hand, cold wet flannel on forehead, groaning as Harris brings another of his patented hangover cures on a shiny silver platter. Looking over at Harris and catching sight of the appearance in the silver tray, which is still ghoulish and pallid compared to the usual rugged cheek that Thomas has, it's enough to make him shudder. That, coupled with the surprise intrusion of the whoever it was that stabbed his mask. But the mask did at least get the attention. It's proof that somebody is out to get the family. And I think Thomas, although in a weakened state, will be plotting how he can combat this unknown entity at the moment, but he has strong suspicions he knows exactly who it is.
Is there anything in your restful, remorseful state of physical and discomfort that you would like to do before you prepare yourself for the rabbit's ball this evening?
Thomas is going to ensure that he has armed himself. The scalpel from the table has been slotted back up the sleeve, and the cuff being laced up again. But I think availing himself of one of the horse pistols from the groom's stables and making sure it's loaded is probably a sensible option there as well. But other than that, I think Thomas will be drinking And in preparation for the ball, making sure that he's got his deck of cards and his dice box as well, as no matter how much alcohol he has imbibed, gambling, well, there'll always be a bit of gambling, won't there? And I'm sure that Kingscombe, with its creme de la tonne in attendance, must be rich pickings for somebody with a handy dice box. Absolutely.
In preparing your pistol and having a few drinks, can I ask you to give me a to give me a firearms pistol roll, please? Not to fire it, but just to see how well you've prepared it.
You can indeed. Unfortunately, he's more of a swordsman, but carrying a rapier into the ball will be
Probably
much harder
frowned
to
upon.
conceal. Absolutely. That is a 33 over 20. I'm not going to spend luck.
Are you sure? Would you like to push the roll and really examine the barrel?
Yeah, really good idea. I'm going to... You know what?
Just slot it down your trousers.
You know what? I am going to push the roll.
Oh,
And I'm got a 20 on 20. That is a success.
wow. Okay. I think there's a moment as you're looking at the gun and you're making sure you're looking at how it's loaded, where the shot is, and you're really examining the gun itself. But there is a moment where you realise you are actually looking down the barrel, and you think for a second, "Oh my God, this could be," and then you just hear a click, and you realise it's loaded. You realise it's set. You realise it's all okay, and I better not do much with it. Unless something else happens. You just managed to successfully load this gun that you're not very familiar with. It's not something that Thomas is au fait with, but you load it, you have it, it's prepared, and your heart probably sped up for a few moments there, and the sweat that you have already probably doubled in its perspiration rolling down your face. But you have your scalpel up your sleeve, your pistol. May I ask where your pistol is hidden?
The pistol will be tucked into the back of Thomas's trousers, hidden by the tails of his coat. Of course, Thomas will make the necessary ablutions and make himself presentable. And if one thing Thomas knows how to do, it is to make himself presentable after a heavy night on the town.
Then let's have that fashion roll, because I love a good boast.
That is a 34 over 30. I will spend the 4 points of luck on that.
Oh, good man. Okay.
Got my priorities straight. Spend it on the fashion.
Absolutely. So you do, and as much as you have met the role and you are wearing the right attire, and you do in the moment look at yourself in the mirror and go, yes, I am ready for this ball. May I ask what colours you're wearing?
In a direct dig at Jenkins, he's going to wear red. A scarlet tailcoat, almost in mockery, vain mockery of a military uniform. Ivory satin breeches, white stockings, and a dark burgundy waistcoat with matching cravat.
Outstanding. You wear that and you look the part and you see yourself in the mirror and you think, Jenkins, this is for you. But you also can't help but see the sweat that pours down your forehead. You have a handkerchief to hand and you can dab it, but you are feeling the lack of whatever Jenkins gave you, this red gelatin, this red jelly. It is, I mean, if, dare I say, Thomas, if you could give me a power roll.
That is a 25 under 45. That is a regular success.
Thomas, you lick your lips. You want the taste. But there's a deep breath. You wipe your brow. You dab your brow. But you're okay for a minute. You're all right. You don't need it. You don't need it. It was something that gave you something, and clearly you just need to get it out of your system. But you're okay for now. Surely. You'll be fine.
Alcohol will fill the gap. It's fine.
Alcohol will fill the gap. I like that as a motto for Thomas Prideaux. So the the day rolls on, the evening begins to approach us, and we find ourselves with the Prideaux carriage outside of Prideaux Manor. And a voice from the main hall, recognizable voice that we all know, is Harris. Lords, ladies, the carriage is ready to take us to Dun Manor for the Rabbit's Ball. Your masks are here, and we await your attendance.
Jolly good, jolly good. Children, are you all ready?
Quite ready, Uncle. May
Good.
I assist you into the coach, sister?
Very well, brother. Have we had any conversations at all? Is this like the first time I see
This
him?
is
And
the
like,
first time
are you?
in days.
You're well, I trust, brother.
As well as one can be who has seen what I have seen. I shall elucidate you in the carriage ride. I feel it is worth planning our, well, dare I say, plan of attack for this social battle that we are about to engage in.
Huh.
And, well, hopefully, no more than that.
Anastasia, you haven't seen your brother in days. He's sitting in the carriage, his hand is out, he's pulling you in with the help of the carriage driver, and he's talking to you about a plan of attack. He's talking to you about this social event, this social warfare. He's got a... Thomas, can you just describe for a minute before the spot hidden, just like how you present yourself to your sister that you haven't seen in days and you've been missing?
Thomas is standing as still as he can muster. He's trying to put on the appearance of somebody who has it all under control. But that telltale shake of the hand and that bead of sweat glistening on his brow is, well, I'm sure somebody as astute as Anastasia will probably notice that all is not well. And the smell of alcohol on his breath is a pretty big giveaway that he's been drinking again. But with everything that has gone on over the past couple of days, Thomas is relieved to see that his uncle, that Anastasia, are okay, or at least appear to be.
Anastasia, what did you roll on your spot hidden?
A lovely 70 over 49, so definitely a failure. My brother always looks a bit terrible, so today's no exception. I mean, the drinking, that's also not unusual. He seems to be mostly himself.
When he talks to you about this social attack, social preparation, the event, Anastasia, I'm guessing this takes you by surprise?
Up to now, my brother has been in my uncle's camp where we deny that anything is wrong and everything's fine. We just move forward and we never tell Anastasia anything. So now he's here and he's telling me that something's wrong. So he finally sees it and he's also willing to talk to me about it. Something is definitely wrong in that regard. But also kind of glad that it's not just me. I've managed to get Burrows to see that something's wrong and my brother. That's kind of promising. So I'm happy to talk to him.
You have Burrows, you have Thomas. Are there any other allies that you feel you have at the moment?
Definitely not my uncle. I can't trust him at all. Charlotte, I want to, but she's been very absent. So it's hard to tell where she's at. I haven't seen her at all. But I still feel she's an ally. And of course Tobias, who is great and very attractive.
Tobias, who is great and attractive. Being one of the great attractive ones that comes to mind.
Great attractive ones. Like the great old ones.
Could you just quickly give me a power roll, please, Anastasia?
If I fail, am I thinking of Tobias and not paying attention to my brother?
We'll see.
Oh, that is unfortunately an extreme success with a 12 over 65.
You see your brother. You see the bead of sweat on his brow. You think about his days of drinking and how this is not unusual for him, but yet he has been missing for days and he's quite urgently talking about this social event. And you think about him now talking to you, sharing with you something he hasn't done before. And you think of Burrows, you think of Charlotte, you think of your allies, you think of Tobias. You have a flash in your mind, Anastasia. You see Tobias. He's sitting on the arm of a stone, almost like a rounded stone. He appears to be underwater. What do you do, Anastasia, whilst you see this momentary underwater vision of Tobias?
Is there any expression in his face? Does he look distressed? Does he look calm? What is his state in that vision?
He's smiling at you, and you realize what he's sitting on is a rounded stone, and it is an arm, but it's the arm of a large carved stone chair, a seat. And he smiles at you and just slowly moves his hand through the water and pats the back of it and kind of nods to you.
And that's when I'm awake.
This is right now.
Okay. He did mention last time we talked about trying to find each other in the vision zone.
It appears you found him. What do you do?
I'll go up to him. Come out, Tobias. Let's talk. I haven't talked to you in such a long time. So much has happened. Come talk to me.
Anastasia, I will. Sit down. Sit here.
But I don't like the water, Tobias. I don't like it.
You will. We all will. Anastasia, at that moment, you feel almost a tightness in your lungs and a sharp breath. And you realize that you're still standing on the steps to the carriage with Thomas in front of you and Reverend George behind you and Burrows standing just to the side of the carriage. And you can taste tea in your mouth. You don't remember drinking the tea, but you can taste it. What do you do?
Do I know that I've drunk the tea before sleep that night?
Give me an intelligence roll, please.
Okay. That is an extreme success with a 12 once again, but this time over 80.
The only explanation for this almost recollection of a vision, you don't feel like you were just having the vision, you feel like you were having a momentary recollection of a vision you have already had. But
okay.
You can't piece it together. It's not a conscious linear thought. It's broken.
Does it feel like a dream, like one of my dreams?
Absolutely. But you don't remember having seen that throne before, that chair before, that stone-carved, beautiful-looking thing. But Tobias was there.
Anastasia is even more confused. She's trying to pay attention to her brother, who's probably telling her pretty horrifying things that she should really be paying attention to. And also she'd like to share with him what she's experienced and ask him whether she feels like Tobias might be trustworthy or not. Although she won't necessarily agree with what he's saying, but it's good to have votes of confidence or not.
Okay, so you enter the carriage. You just demonstrate yourself in that specific way. Reverend, you are a step behind. Burrows is almost a step behind you, Reverend.
We will wait a moment for Mr. Burrows and just pause him before he gets up onto the carriage. Mr. Burrows, I fear we might be being watched. And so I would be indebted to you if you might be able to do a simple favor for me around, at 9 o'clock this evening. Would you be so good as to meet a friend at the telescope? Literally, so all you have to do is make an excuse I mean, you won't be in the ball, unfortunately. Might be quite fun, actually, but I could do with someone to talk to. But, no, wait with the carriage. At 9 o'clock, make your way to the telescope, which I'm assured is in the grounds of the Dun Manor, and a friend will meet you there. I would be indebted if this is just between the two of us, and receive whatever the gentleman gives to you, and I take it to the carriage and keep it exceptionally safe. I shall try and make my excuses to come out and see you and read what is in the book, but is that agreeable, sir?
Burrows sort of swallows hard and blinks several times, and then nods a few times erratically. Yeah, yes, sir. 9 o'clock. Very good. No trouble at all.
Thank you very much. And are you okay traveling up with the others? We've been through such a lot. You might enjoy the fresh air, actually.
Oh, quite. Yes, perfectly agreeable. Thank you, sir.
Marvelous. The Reverend gets into the carriage, closes the door, makes sure there's just the three of us in here, and looks at the children sitting opposite him, and gives a very stern look. Now, children, this is a ball that society wants us to attend, and we have to look our absolute best. Something is afoot in this town, but we are the Prideaux. We are the external influence that is going to make everything right. There is so much going on here, I couldn't possibly tell you everything in just a simple carriage ride. Miss Anastasia, I hope you are all right. There is lots going on here, and after your experience in the spa, which, let me assure you, myself, Tobias, and Mr. Burrows also, and Master Thomas, your experience being away for so long, this is a secret that people will want to steal from us. I've had enough things stolen from me since I've arrived here in Kingscombe. I would ask that we present a united front and show this town what the Prideaux family is all about. Now I've got that out of the way. Any questions for me, children? This is rather difficult.
The carriage starts as this conversation is happening, and you find your way onto the ball.
Uncle, I feel it is worth our while raising the point that Jenkins, Mr. Jenkins, is still out there. You saw with your own eyes what he did to Aldworth. Now, I know that you don't know the man. I knew him back in Hampshire. He is not to be trusted. And sister, if Jenkins makes an appearance at the ball tonight, you are to run back home. I will deal with him. There are things in this world that you cannot possibly begin to comprehend. It may only have been 2 days, but I tell you what, I have learnt so much more than, well, all the schooling I received at boarding school. This is a war. Uncle, you're right. People have been targeting us. We have lost so much in such a short space of time. Father, even Chambers, as much as I despise the man, but we must present a united front. Tell the people who ask that I twisted my ankle while riding. They'll believe it. But any sign of Jenkins, leave him to me. I will deal with him. Thomas's voice audibly changes for that last sentence, almost a sort of hangover from the red jelly experience.
This is probably a good point to add that the Hawthornes are also trying to kill me.
What?
I'm trying not to be dismissive, Miss Anastasia, as that is quite the accusation. They gave you such a lovely gift of tea. The tea wasn't poisoned, was it? Goodness.
The Hawthornes are peers of the realm. Why would a peer of the realm wish to harm you? This is scandalous. Scandalous accusations that if that gets out, that you have said that,
Thomas,
the entire
Thomas,
family
keep
shall be
your-
ruined.
Keep your voice down, young man. Mr.
You have not changed at all after all. Tobias, their own son, told me and has been trying to protect me.
He's a good man. You should dance with him tonight.
And yet, his family are trying to kill me, if not all of us.
I don't know what their game is. Certainly, there is a very much air about them of superiority. And these village gentlefolk have nothing in common with us city folk. We know best, and we shall show them who is best. And if we need the alliance of Mr. Dunn to force Hawthorne out of the Kingscombe Spa, if he was able to step down, if Mr. Dunn was able to step down, then we could, well, make everything work. But stay on your toes. If Mr. Jenkins does show up, well, as I say, Thomas, don't be a brave hero. I remember what happened last time. I believe you got thrown through a window and carried off kidnapped.
What did happen to you?
This time will be different, Uncle. I will be prepared. He caught me unawares. I was not expecting Jenkins. What happened to me, sister? I had apotheosis. I was reborn beneath, well, wherever I was in that cavern.
Oh, goodness. What did he do to you?
He showed me what man could become.
Oh, my goodness.
And I have to admit, at a point I was tempted. He made a convincing argument, but when I saw what was in those tanks, what he was doing to those creatures, those inhuman, frog-eyed, scaly things.
You hear the horses rear, Thomas, and you hear the snap of a whip.
We will continue this conversation once we return to Prideaux Manor.
If
For now,
really.
we are a happy family. We are a united front.
And children, no more secrets. They are weapons to be used against us. I am sorry I have not been forthcoming, but let us try and make this a fresh start. Let us show the world what a real Prideaux family is all about.
Thank you for joining us for Cult and Culpability. Remember, you can find us at www.miskatonicplayhouse.com, and you can also visit the main stage for other scenarios from the Miskatonic Playhouse with links in the show notes below. Please like and subscribe, and if you can spare a minute to leave a review, it makes a huge difference to other like-minded listeners who will be able to find and enjoy our work. Until next time, when the curtain rises again.